Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The weather, always great this time of year in Mumbai. Oh, we're getting there actually this year. It's been a little late. But nevertheless, I think pleasant weather. And of course, what's even more inviting this evening is the excitement in the room. I think it's pretty palpable. As the lady graciously said, I'm Brian Tellis. It gives me great pleasure to present Impact Person of the Year 2018, hosted by the Exchange for Media Group, along with our presenting partners, Colors, powered by our partner Z News, co-gold partners, Nick, 9X Jalwa, Naam to suna hi hoga, Shimaru, India Khush Hua, Republic TV, You Are Republic, We Are Your Voice, empowered by partner Colors Infinity, associate partners, the Sakal Media Group, Print TV Digital Events, and Discovery, Explore Your World. Our co-partners, Radio City, 91.1 FM, and BTVI, Business Television India, India's premier English business news channel. And of course, our live webcast partner, 24 Frames Digital. As is mandatory, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to play policeman, if I might, and request you to kind of put your phones on silent mode. Please do so right away, or through the event as well. But do keep your tweets coming in. I must tell you that we have an exciting prize to be won. I don't know what the prize is yet. I'll try and find out in the course of the evening. There's a prize to be won for the most innovative tweet using, of course, our hashtag. That's hashtag IPOY, or IPOY 2018. Hashtag IPOY 2018. You want to be tweeting right through this evening. Like I said, an exciting prize coming away to the most innovative tweet. Okay, on to the business of the evening. The Impact Person of the Year, as most of you must be aware, is a recognition of the individual who has made the maximum impact in the advertising, marketing, and media domain during the year gone by. The award was instituted back in 2005 by the Exchange for Media Group under the aegis of Impact, its flagship weekly magazine dedicated, of course, to media marketing and advertising, and, of course, to recognize and award excellence and reward excellence in the domain. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, is about celebrating excellence. Not just the winner of the award, but indeed, and I really mean this, all the super achievers of the year who have been nominated for the award. The nominees this year are Naveen Tiwari, founder and CEO InMobi, Nadia Chauhan, joint managing director and CMO, Parle Agro, Sanjay Gupta, managing director, Star India, Deepak Iyer, managing director, Mondelez India, Rajan Anandan, vice president, Southeast Asia and India, Google, Ritesh Agarwal, founder, Oyo, Sanjeev Mehta, chairman and MD, Hindustan Unilever Limited, or HUL, Piyush Pandey, executive chairman and creative director, Ogilvy South Asia, when he was nominated, that was, and now, of course, as we all know, the global CCO of Ogilvy, and, importantly, Prasoon Pandey, director, Cocois Films, Shri Harsha, Majeti, Rahul, Jaimini, Nandan Reddy, co-founders of Swiggy. An incredibly august lineup, you will agree. So the question, I suppose, this evening is who amongst them will be the Impact Person of the Year? As always, we will have to wait just a little bit longer to figure out who the winner is. Please do remember, I must repeat, to tweet about today's event, the Impact Person of the Year 2018, using the hashtag IPOY 2018 if you want to win that prize. We are proud this evening to have in our midst Dr. Deepak Sawant, Honorable Health Minister of Maharashtra, as our chief guest. Thank you very much, Dr. Sawant, for agreeing to be with us this evening. Much appreciated. And of course, as you must imagine, to get an evening of this stature and size on the road, it takes a lot of believers, a lot of supporters. We'd now like to play or take a look at some of our partner AVs. Let's play the AVs, please. Thank you.
चलो चलो तुम रंग अपने चलो 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 तुम रंग अपने चलो चलो। तुझसा ना कोई यार है, दुनिया को देखा दे अपना ढंग, पहचान तुझे मिल जाएगी, जीत ले तू अपनी जंग। चुनो अपने खुशियाँ तेरी गुनगुनाएगी, सपनों की राहें तेरी रोशन हो जाएगी, मंजिल तेरे होगी संग। चुनो अपने रंग, चुनो अपने रंग, चुनो अपने रंग। थाम के जुनू कहा दुनिया को कर दे दंग, उड़ जा तू होके मलंग। चुनो अपने रंग, चुनो अपने रंग, चुनो अपने रंग।
रुपए का जो दाम है, जो कमजोरी है, 70 साल में इतना कमजोर नहीं रहा है रुपया।
सबसे तेज गति से विकसित होने वाली अर्थव्यवस्था भारत 6ठे नंबर की अर्थव्यवस्था है।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
तुम नहीं जानते तुम जिस रास्ते पे चल रहे हो उसका अंजाम क्या हो सकता है।
जिस रास्ते पर मैं चल रहा हूँ उसका अंजाम शायद बुरा भी हो सकता है, लेकिन जिस रास्ते पर तुम चल रहे हो उसका अंजाम सिर्फ बुरा ही होता है भाई।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
ये मेरा देश है, ये मेरे लोग हैं, ये हमारी लड़ाई है, ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। इसे ऐसे कैसे छोड़ दूं? अन्याय के इस बोझ को और कौन उठाएगा? क्योंकि जब आप मुस्कुराते हैं तो मैं मुस्कुराता हूं, जब आपका दिन अच्छा गुजरता है तो मैं भी सुकून से सोता हूं। ये मेरा देश है, ये मेरे लोग हैं।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
We know the language of Indian entertainment.
Shemaru, India, खुश हुआ.
You are Mahan, this country's shine. गट्टू आ रहे हैं.
I am Gattu और ये बट्टू, my brother from another mother.
मैं आपका बहुत ह्यूज फैन हूँ.
Full speed, full force. बट्टू का सिक्स सेंस कह रहा है something big is about to happen.
Now the fun will start.
We are fully unshakable. Understand?
9X Media is the go-to solution for many major brands, creating some of the best co-branded content in the industry today. This includes long-format AFPs, such as Jhakaas Heroine, a show that would launch Marathi cinema's newest stars, Shock Clues Music, where entertainment meets shopping. A first-of-its-kind innovation that's captured eyeballs everywhere. And Pepsi, Jaisa Mood Vaisa Song Show, a request show with a quirky twist. 9X Media also produces original music videos with some of the hottest stars. With in-house music and production expertise, we have also created breakthrough customized music videos for leading brands. We are 9X Media. Think music. Think 9X Media. 9X Media.
What do you do when the odds are stacked against you? Right from birth. This is a story of beating the odds. By disrupting English business news broadcasting. When the whole world was obsessed with breaking news, we focused on being incisive and lightning fast to bring you news that moves the market and in-depth insights that shape your thoughts and empower you to act by arming you with opinions that help you win every day so you can save, invest and prosper. Remember that game-changing bit? Guess what? We broke it. We added new viewers faster than anyone else, who stayed longer with us at the cost of other bigger names. When market hours was the obsession in town, we also focused on business beyond market hours. And when everyone was busy broadcasting your busy weekdays, we lit up your weekends as well, which you loved. And today, when everyone is set on broadcasting live news, we also stream live news and enter your world through the largest OTT platforms and trading apps. So you always have us by your side on the go. And even though we have just turned 2, we promise you, we will never stop bringing you the sharpest and the most actionable information, curating your world so you can save, invest and prosper. Because your opinion of us is what keeps us going. And we're only getting started.
मुझे गाने सुनना बहुत पसंद है. आधा काम छोड़ के पहले मैं गाने सुनता हूँ. ऐसा है म्यूजिक.
The world is very very visual और इसलिए बहुत बार ऐसा ऐसा लगता है कि इनको दिखाई नहीं देता मतलब वो कुछ भी नहीं कर पाएंगे। ये एक बहुत बड़ी गलतफहमी है और हम तो बोलते हैं कि आपके भी कान है, आपका भी नाक है, आप क्यों वर्ल्ड को उस तरह से नहीं एंजॉय कर सकते जिस तरह से हम करते हैं।
कॉन्सर्ट में आर्टिस्ट आते हैं, वो अपना लाइव परफॉर्मेंस देते हैं।
ऐसा कॉन्सर्ट तो बहुत ही मतलब मुझे अच्छा लगता है, अगर स्कूल में हो तो और भी अच्छा होता है।
दिल है छोटा सा, छोटी सी आशा, मस्ती भर मन की भोली सी आशा। चांदतारों को छूने की आशा, आसमानों में उड़ने की आशा। दिल है छोटा सा, छोटी सी आशा।
आवाज बने के लिए तालियां हो जाए।
Are you guys ready?
The opportunity to entertain them, yes, but they entertain us when they actually perform for us.
हम सबके बीच में एक कनेक्शन बन गया था of love and music. And whenever I'm performing on stage, I have my eyes closed and only listen from my ears and from my heart.
Just to see all those children just swaying like this, listening to Arman, goosebumps.
They've experienced something which they will not forget for a long time. Thank you, Radio City, for making it happen.
I think it's something that will always stay in the children's mind. They may not have seen Arman, but they certainly know him.
Well, some messages from our supporters, sponsors. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to all of you. I must place and record that we truly appreciate your presence here with us this evening. May I once again request everyone to ensure that your mobile phones are on silent mode. And having said that, another request to keep those tweets coming at us. Like I said earlier, it's hashtag IPOY2018. You want to remember that? I'd now like to request the Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Exchange for Media Group, Mr. Anurag Batra, to kindly step up onto stage and address us. Ladies and gentlemen, Anurag Batra.
Good evening. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you to the 14th edition of the Impact Person of the Year. First of all, a big round for Brian Tellis. He's the best. His voice, I would like to be like you when I grow up, but one thing that I would certainly want is your voice. If I had your voice, I think I'd do better. So please give Brian a big round of applause. There's no tax on clapping. When Shrapna said she wants to get Brian, me and Nawal said the best person. So thank you, Brian. Your being here adds to the event and brings a certain finesse and a touch of professionalism to what we do. I'd like to welcome our chief guest for the evening. He's a double doctor. He is a PhD, but he's also a family physician. He's a cabinet minister in the Maharashtra government. He was elected as in the Maharashtra legislature first in 2000, and since then he served the state of Maharashtra. And currently he has many portfolios, but his primary portfolio is the portfolio of public health and family welfare. With this, he is also the caretaker minister for, for the regions of Aurangabad, Osmanabad, and the third place, which I can't pronounce, Bhandara, right? So please welcome Dr. Deepak Sawant, the cabinet minister for Public Health and Family Affairs, Government of Maharashtra, who's our chief guest, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. We normally do this. I see lots of friends. First of all, let me acknowledge the presence of the nominees, because really this evening is about them. I'd like to welcome Mr. Deepak Iyer, who's the MD of Mondelez in India. So please welcome Mr. Iyer. He was here on time. I'd like to welcome, you look like a movie star, but he's not a movie star. He creates stars. So let's welcome a creative ace, a maverick, filmmaker and advertising legend. He has big shoes to fill in terms of who he works with. So let's welcome Prasoon Joshi. Let's welcome Prasoon Pandey. Yes, I haven't had my red wine. I think I should have red wine before I start. Please welcome Mr. Prasoon Pandey. That was a Freudian slip. I met Prasoon outside. So last but not the least, we have Mr. Rajan Anandan, who's the MD of Google in India, and he's the Senior Vice President for Southeast Asia. His responsibilities include everything in South Asia. He's come from Delhi. I'd like to welcome Mr. Nayak, who's been part of the Impact Person of the Year for the last 10 years. He's now possibly moving towards entrepreneurship, not that he tells us what he's going to do. My friend and a pioneer in the broadcasting and the content industry, Mr. Markand Adhikari of Shri Adhikari Brothers fame and now Masti. I'd like to, I mean, there are lots of friends, so I don't want to complete the evening by just naming my friends. Sharat Puri of JW Marriott, he's here. He's a fantastic host and a very close friend. I'd like to definitely acknowledge two of my senior most edit colleagues, because whatever we do is about content and editorial. Shrabna Lahari, who for the last 7 years oversees the Impact Person of the Year and is the editor of Impact. And for some reason, she likes me to be in flights because she feels I write well when I'm in a flight. And Nazia Rahman, who's the editor of exchangeformedia.com, our flagship asset. My partner Naval is there. The Impact Person of the Year to this audience doesn't really need an introduction. This is the 14th year. We normally do it, the first three we did it at the Taj Lands End, but it became so big that we started doing it at the ITC Parel because on the lawns, but because of the construction around ITC Parel, we chose this. A lot of people tell us this is a good venue. So last year, the governor of Maharashtra was the chief guest and Baba Ramdev was the winner. The year before, you'll see the AV, but the year before, Vijay Shekhar Sharma was the winner. The year before that, Arnab Goswami was the winner. We've had Mr. Jain, Mr. Puneet Goenka, Uday Shankar, Ambika Soni for bringing digitization and CAS. So we've had illustrious winners and they've all really gone on to do well. The only time we've done in the 10th year of the Impact Person of the Year, we did Impact Person of the Decade, and rightfully we gave it to Uday Shankar, who's really built Star to a certain level. Just to give you a context, out of the global valuation of News Corp, 25% of the valuation is India. So he really created value for News Corp and Murdoch. With this context, let me tell you that tonight's nominees are really special. It was very difficult to choose between the nominees. At least all of them are very accomplished. For example, I don't want to give away the name of the winner, but, there were some developments that happened in the last 2 days, which were big. We nominated the nominees based on what they've done through the year. So Impact Person is not about building their own company. It's about what they're doing for the ecosystem. Of course, building your company is an important part of it. That's your primary responsibility. But people who inspire other people, people who, create icons for people to follow, to contribute to the ecosystem. So tonight, when you see the winner and you see the nominees, I mean, all of them are winners. And I'm not saying it in a cliched way. It was really tough to choose this year. And when you see the nominees and you see their accomplishments and you see the winner, you'll know that really it was very tough to choose. So I look forward to having a conversation with nominees on the stage for a while, and I look forward to celebrating the Impact Person of the Year in the 14th year. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to celebrating it once the formal event is over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anurag. I've always loved you, and after all the wonderful things you said about me, I love you even more. What I loved most of all is that you said you want to be like me when you grow up. You're going to have to wait a while. You're just 25. I'm in my late 50s. So there's going to be a few years before you No, I'm just kidding. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Never short for the lines. Thank you. And now let's get to the objective of this evening, while we watch a very special audiovisual presentation about the 9 nominees for the Impact Person of the Year 2018, which is presented to all of us by Colors and powered by Z News. Let's take a look at this audiovisual.
Baba Ramdev, Arnab Goswami, Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Ambika Soni, Uday Shankar, Puneet Goenka. These men and women over the years have not only bedazzled the industry with their exemplary work, but have also another factor in common. They are all winners of the Impact Person of the Year award.
I'm absolutely delighted. It's a very big honor. But I'm truly humbled with the choice and the selection here that I was company of such incredible people.
और जिन लोगों ने भी मुझे चुना है, मैं उन सबको हृदय से बहुत-बहुत प्रणाम करता हूँ.
Year on year, the best in the advertising and marketing industry are brought up to the stage to celebrate their achievements. An example of what sheer brilliance and dedication can do. And this time, it is no different. Now, in its 14th year, the Impact Person of the Year this time has 9 contenders, each of them absolutely deserving of the award. Deepak Iyer is the managing director of a brand that kids and adults love alike. His efforts have helped Mondelez deliver its 4th straight quarter of double-digit growth in July this year. His strategy has been to augment sales in comparatively weaker markets. He has managed to strengthen the brand's presence in rural India, investing in capabilities required for a heat-sensitive product. Under Iyer's leadership, Mondelez's revenue contribution from rural markets has gone up from 12% to 20%. Nadia Chauhan, Joint MD and CMO, Parle Agro, a Rs 4,200 crore company which boasts of an innovative portfolio of products delivering double-digit growth every year. She revamped Fruity and Appy Fizz into edgier and more contemporary products. Under Chauhan's leadership, Parle Agro reported a Rs 2,800 crore turnover in the Rs 4,500 crore fruit drink category last fiscal, gunning to become a Rs 5,000 crore company by the end of the year.
According to me, I think Nadia Chauhan should be the one, because the way she or Parle Agro has been doing some aggressive work on some of the Parle products is wonderful.
Naveen Tiwari has catapulted the Bangalore-based ad tech major InMobi into the big boys club of digital advertising in less than a decade. Tiwari, founder and CEO of InMobi, has led the company to phenomenal growth, making it a popular name in India and abroad. One of its high points was when the brand entered a strategic partnership with Microsoft to enable new age CMOs in their transformational journey from digital to mobile marketing. Their list of offerings range from app distribution and monetization to brand advertisements. Tiwari is undoubtedly one of the biggest disruptors of 2018. Piyush Pandey, Executive Chairman and Creative Director, Ogilvy South Asia, and Prasoon Pandey, founder Corcoys Films, have made the country proud by becoming not only the first Indians but the first Asians to be awarded the Lion of St. Mark, the highest honor that the Cannes Lions International Festival of Creativity bestows upon creative geniuses. A Padma Shri recipient, Piyush Pandey's work on brands such as Fevicol, Luna, Cadbury and Asian Paints has been legendary. Prasoon Pandey is a highly respected director whose name has repeatedly featured in global rankings of top film directors. The next contender for the Impact Person of the Year award heads a company we get to thank every day of our lives. Rajan Anandan, Vice President, Southeast Asia and India at Google, is a man who has made it his mission in life to get every Indian online, and that too accessing the net in any Indian language. Meanwhile, under him, the last quarter saw Google India's revenues jump 29%, with profits rising by 33%. The company also managed to grow its bottom line from rupees 306.6 crores in 2016-17 to rupees 407.2 crores in 2017-18. Anandan brings with him a deep understanding of technology and a track record of investing in many sectors across technology.
If I had to pick up one name, then it would be Rajan Anandan. It is because of the effort he has put to bringing India online, helping women, helping the rest of India, the people in tier 2, tier 3 towns and rural areas that Google is trying to do to bring people online.
Ritesh Agarwal was 19 when he founded Oyo Rooms. Today, it is one of the fastest growing companies in India. In 5 years, Oyo has become a member of the coveted Unicorn Club and India's second most valued startup after Paytm. It currently operates close to 1.5 lakh rooms in India across 8,500 properties. Oyo has witnessed a 3 times increase in revenues in the financial year of 2018. Its valuation currently stands at a little less than $5 billion. Oyo has also expanded to China, where it aims to soon become the largest hotel chain.
My personal vote would be for those who are creating, success and scale and impact in a new space, a relatively new space, and at a big level. Things like Oyo, the team there, Ritesh and his gang, Swiggy, because I think these are guys who are trying to build sort of absolutely globally competitive business ideas in a very short period of time.
The next nominee for the award is Sanjay Gupta, Managing Director, Star India. Gupta has been instrumental in exploring new content genres, introducing multiple platforms for content delivery, spearheading the growth of HD, and expanding the portfolio of Star's channels. Gupta also led the massive scale-up of Hotstar, Star India's OTT platform. These initiatives have aided in a 3 times growth in revenue for the network. Sanjay Gupta also made news after confidently declaring that Star India would break even on the IPL after buying its telecast rights for a whooping rupees 16,347.5 crores. Sriharsha Majeti, Rahul Jaimini and Nandan Reddy co-founded Swiggy, which has become India's fastest startup to find its place in the Unicorn Club. Swiggy was set up in 2014 on a simple premise. We aim to change the way India eats. And the 3 founders have managed to do that while getting their basic service of logistics right. That the company is on the right path is clear from the fact that Naspers Limited is planning to further increase its stake in Swiggy with a $2 billion investment.
The Swiggy guys deserve a mention, a special mention for actually being brave, for making a business out of one of those thankless categories called fulfillment or delivery, and creating a brand out of it. So I think they've done a fine job.
Sriharsha, Rahul and Nandan for what I think they've done to office lunches and to the way India orders its food today.
Sanjeev Mehta, the chairman and MD of India's largest FMCG company, Hindustan Unilever, is another contender for the Impact Person of the Year. Mehta has led the company to report double-digit volume growth in the last 3 quarters. A Unilever globetrotter for the past 25 years, Mehta has led HUL to do something different to tackle disruptors like Patanjali Ayurved in the Indian FMCG sector. His efforts proved fruitful even as HUL continues to grow and differentiate itself in a crowded market.
If I were to choose one person, and
as per my individual choice, would be Sanjeev Mehta of Hindustan Unilever. The clear focus aspects whenever he talks to any one of us, whenever he gives us the vision of the overall organization, is obviously very thrilling and exciting for each one of us to look at some of the achievements as well and connect to the practices in which he has led and driven the whole overall organization. I will be absolutely delightful if he gets awarded.
Most of the people that you've nominated are my personal friends. Sanjeev Mehta, of course, HUL has had a great turnover and had a great story this year. Sanjay Gupta of Star TV, I think again Star has done fabulous, and with the acquisition of IPL and the company that they've evolved. I would also give Nadia Chauhan, because she's taken a brand which and taken it to a completely new level.
To see Impact Person of the Year as a property evolve dramatically, and it looks special to me this year, not only because my dear friend Piyush Pandey is on the list, but also the fact that there are a lot of illustrious names. And what looks different this year are people who are not only from advertising but from a larger ecosystem of ours. Big names who have made success stories, so from Oyo Rooms to Sanjeev Mehta, who is the boss man at HUL, to Sanjay Gupta, who is the boss man at Star. So I think it's a wider catch. Obviously, it will be difficult to judge because there are different perspectives and different ways of looking at it. But wishing all the nominees all the best.
With such a venerable list, it was clearly a huge task to choose the Impact Person of the Year. And here's how we selected the winner. Stage 1 involved inviting nominations by the Exchange for Media Group by reaching out individually to senior industry leaders. In Stage 2, the editorial team at Impact validated the responses and evaluated them to come up with the final nominee list. Finally, at Stage 3, there was voting on the nominees by a select few from across the advertising, media and marketing fraternity. On the basis of pre-decided parameters, the respondents voted for the nominees. The results were collated to arrive at the Impact Person of the Year 2018.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you can do better than that. As many of people said on that screen, a really, really wonderful list of people there. I'd like to, at this point in time, also announce that we are privileged to have with us our guest of honor for this evening, Mr. Subhash Ghai. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay. I would now like to invite on stage to address us our chief guest for this evening, Dr. Deepak Sawant, the Honorable Health Minister of Maharashtra. Let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way up. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I thank Anurag ji for inviting me as the chief guest of today's gallant function. So many dignitaries are there. As you have said, the full ecosystem is there. And we have to choose from this ecosystem the best one. I will put it like that. Everybody is fine. Everybody is winner. But it was very difficult to choose who is a winner. The Impact Person of the Year, who will be? What is your guess? Can you guess? It is very difficult to guess, I know. Even when Anurag ji told me about this function, I was also a little bit worried. So it is a galaxy of the star. From this galaxy, we have to choose one star who is ever shining. Yes, Subhash Ghai is always close to a star. He was star, he is star, he will be remain as a star. So, Impact Person of the Year, no doubt, the magazine Impact which I have seen has got a great impact on my mind itself. And now they are coming with the health issue also, not only the business issue, but health issue also. So I congratulate Mr. Anurag ji for this gallant efforts which he has taken in the health. And he has, in his health issue, you have mentioned about our Ayushman Bharat, the scheme for the poor, downtrodden, yellow ration card holders, which will reach to lowest part of the society. So he has put a coverage very nicely on this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, this is indeed a great pleasure to be with you and amongst the galaxy of the stars. I congratulate for this great success, the great celebration, great evening. Everybody is winner, but one winner will be there. Who is that? We will see in next few moments. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've requested our chief guest, Dr. Deepak Sawant, to stay with us for just a bit. I'd like to invite Mr. Anurag Batra to please step up onto stage and present Dr. Sawant with a special token of our appreciation. Thank you, Dr. Sawant. Thank you, Mr. Batra. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into a panel discussion, I'd like to spend the next couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, actually acknowledging a few more of our supporters or sponsors, by playing their audio visuals. Can we roll the film, please?
The game has just begun.
You don't look like the others.
That's the idea. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like a song.
Bam! That's what I'm talking about.
Mountains top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be. Proud to be part of this. I'll be riding shotgun underneath.
God, I love this place.
Feeling like a song. I see everything. I'm on a song.
Imagine the possibilities. The global leader in real-life entertainment never stops pushing the limits. Imagine the possibilities of billions of viewers on every kind of screen, all over the world. Imagine the icons of American entertainment, the Olympics in Europe, and the leader in owned content across platforms, joining forces with the pioneers in food, home, and travel together under one roof. Imagine the power of discovery, from TV to digital to mobile. We're on a mission to push the boundaries of imagination. Proudly welcoming the Scripps Networks. Discovery. Explore your world.
Thanks once again to our supporters. Like I said, takes a fair amount of support to get a show like this on the road. As you can see, we are readying ourselves for the next happening on stage. We're going to have up on stage in just a bit, when we are ready, we're going to have Deepak Iyer, Managing Director, Mondelez India, Mr. Prasoon Pandey, Director, Korkois Films, and Mr. Rajan Anandan, Vice President, Southeast Asia and India, Google, up on stage for a quick discussion on future innovation and digital transformation. I request Mr. Batra to please come up on stage as these dignitaries join him. May we have Mr. Deepak Iyer, Mr. Prasoon Pandey, and Mr. Rajan Anandan on stage, please.
Please give Mr. Prasoon Pandey a big round of applause. Mr. Prasoon Pandey. First of all, let me tell you that these are 3 nominees. 4 more nominees are on their way, so don't think it's one of them. I just want to tell you that upfront. It could be one of the 4 other also. So they're on their way, so just wanted to clarify that. If you want to start betting on Impact Person of the Year, I just wanted to give you that input. We have a fantastic panel in the sense we have a creative person on the panel. Not that you don't have business sense, I'm not saying that. We have a brand owner and a business person, and we have a media and tech player, right? So a media owner, a brand owner, and a creative leader. So really they represent 3 different sides of the business, or part of the ecosystem. Let me start with Deepak. Deepak, there's a lot of talk of digital transformation of businesses, right? The usage of AR, VR, and I'm not talking communication. I'm talking in supply chain, I'm talking in research, I'm talking in communication, I'm talking in terms of crowdsourcing of ideas. Tell us what you're doing in Mondelez to kind of be future ready for the next 10 years, 15 years.
Hello, good evening, everybody, and thanks, Anurag. It's a very big question. So let me start with a joke around this. So 2 years ago, we didn't know the D of digital, to be very honest. I went for one workshop with a consultant, and I got really shell-shocked about seeing what things are happening there. So we said, we must come and make a digital strategy. We drew up a page on strategy. After 3 months, we figured out it was outdated. We tore it apart. After 6 months, we realized we have version 2, which also didn't work. Sum and substance of it, what we realized is that it is about getting something out there. It is not about waiting for that very big idea to happen. And this is not something which will touch only digital marketing. It's not something that will touch only the front end. It touches your back end, like you said. So we just changed our thinking. We said, okay, instead of having a chief digital officer, why don't we have digital ambassadors? So all our leadership team said, at that time, I didn't even know what's the full form of IoT. Yeah, so connected devices, okay, great. So I heard one of the gentlemen in India on top, yeah, there you go. So I heard this famous quote. The amazing thing that I heard was this gentleman was the CEO for a white goods company. He said, you know, I have placed a camera in my fridge. It'll be very unfashionable not to do it, but having placed it, I don't know what it's going to do for me. Right? So we started in all places, and I think, you know, today where we are, we have something going in sales, something going in marketing, something going in our factories, something going in our supply chain, something going for our employees. Let me talk about what we did in the factory. So this entire thing about connected devices. So one of our factories, Sri City, right now all equipments, all machines are digitally integrated. So the integrated digital factory. So we get on one console every parameter of every machine. So instead of having 10 people manning one machine, there is one console which can man almost everything. This is how you get connected devices to life.
Automation of manufacturing.
Yes, one big thing. The other big thing is learning. So we got sensors in all these machines. We have a lot of data. We don't know what to do with it. But someday in life will tell us if the pressure is so much, if the vibration is so much, the machine will fail. So we'll move from annual maintenance to a predictive maintenance kind of a mode. We still haven't moved, but at least we started a journey. And we don't even know how long it will take. Version 2.0, maybe version 20.0 will get there. Likewise, in sales, we have 600,000 villages. How do you know which one to sell to? Yeah, but then you can be smart, like, using the OpenStack architecture, like, Uber or Ola use. There's GPS, there's a Google map, there's big data out there. You can figure out from the maps as to how many villages have a metal road, how many electrified. So there's so much that you can do out there. So I think we are touching every field. There's not one function today which I can say has been a laggard in our department, but we haven't cracked it all. It's just a start.
Deepak, there's one word, he was our winner last year. And when I met Mr. Mehta and I talked to him at the Marketing White Book, and he talked about how fantastic HUL is doing and which it is doing. It shows in the confidence they have and the confidence the shareholders have. But he said, I said, you haven't mentioned a word called Patanjali. Now, I know since last year the growth of Patanjali has petered out, relatively speaking. Now, Patanjali is an example of a newcomer, of an outsider who's playing by unconventional rules, who has advantages that other players don't have. We really work in this VUCA world. Tell us 2-3 disruptions that you fear that may kind of take your business in a direction that you don't want it to go.
I mean, if I knew, I would be solving for it. But honestly, the disruptions are disruptions and they happen, right? So today, let me tell you what is the thing that we can learn from. So if a dollar shave company happened, right?
Of course.
There, you can't say that there won't be a similar in the chocolate world, right? So we don't know what it's going to be.
Chocolate for weight loss.
Now, okay, that's okay. That's a disruption. Brilliant. So now I think you need to join the team that we have. So what we have put out is a bunch of teams with our senior leaderships, each of them with a mandate saying that, listen, you are a disruptor. This is Halo. This is winning in many Indias and all those various kinds of stuff. So there's one team actually going out there saying we don't know what to find, but we want to know who will disrupt and how.
But what keeps you awake at night? Of course, you think of sales numbers. You think of your 3-year, 5-year plan. You think of, these days, most CEOs think of compliance, which has become very big. But what keeps you awake? That's one thing that keeps Deepak Iyer awake. Apart from the fact he's reading or answering mail or having conference calls.
Yeah, since you called me a brand guy, so I think whose brand will it be? And this is something that has been bothering us for a while now. So if you look at what's happening, and there's a story that I told in one of the other meetings, Anurag, where you were there, right? So nothing enters my house unless my wife knows the brand. Correct? So only trust is what finds its way in. One day I saw in the evening, she showed me a screen saying, what do you think about these shoes? I said, they look good. Which brand is it? She said, how does it matter? It's sold on Amazon. Yeah? That's a huge insight. The day a retailer's brand becomes the brand, because what they have delivered is trust. Correct? So the one thing that I would really like to keep in my mind is, this is my own wife, correct? And I'm sitting with her almost every day. So it sort of brings you to life, saying that, the reality check to say, listen, there could be a disruption like this.
By the way, the anniversary issue of Impact is the trust issue. Last year was the good luck issue. This year is the trust issue, and hopefully tomorrow I'll write my piece for Impact. Coming to you, Prasoon, since the time I entered this profession and for the last 18 years that I've been part of Exchange for Media, we've been talking of Madison Avenue, Silicon Valley, and Hollywood coming together. So let's say you are Hollywood, you look like the guy from Hollywood. He is Madison Avenue because he's talking of brand, and he's clearly Silicon Valley. Tell me, is it really manifesting when you create communication, you create ads? Do you create ads still for TV? I know Rajan's company is a digital company, but it still advertises a lot on television. Almost every player in digital advertises a lot on television. So tell us, you now make ads for digital, you make ads for television. And how is this real convergence of Silicon Valley, Madison Avenue, and Hollywood happening in India?
I must tell you, Anurag Kashyap, sorry, Batra.
Receiver.
I should give it back. No, you know, making a commercial has got nothing to do with whether you're doing it for digital or not. So making a commercial is a painting. You could paint on canvas, you could paint on a wall, you could paint on paper. When a lot of people come to us and say, are you making a digital commercial? And I tell them, it's, you know, I can't understand the question. You know, so a lot of stuff that I do, it is the same commercial that is playing on television, that is playing in a movie hall.
Which is your favorite medium?
No, I think it's a question of who am I talking to. So that will decide which is my favorite medium. Now, there are certain opportunities in each medium. And so if I knew that a client of mine is going only digital, then I know only digital has
a certain engagement.
Yeah, and it has its own opportunity, its own pitfalls also, you know. So there's a screen size, you know, if I'm doing it actually for cinema, I'm actually utilizing, you know, 6 point, you know, whatever sound, okay. I'm not doing that to your, you know, to whatever is going digital. I'm also aware of the screen size and stuff like that. But these are minor, you know, issues. The main issue is how do I grab the audience, and that's a creative issue. Okay.
Sure.
So that is where we are involved really only with the painting. You know, you just need, you know. So what will happen is if you tell me I want it on a canvas, I will make certain adjustments. You know, I'll get a different kind of oil for it. Sure. But that is an iota of what we do.
But okay, let me take you back to a conversation I had with Piyush 10 years back. He was at an event like this, and there was a talk about market research. And Piyush said, you know, market research is fine, but I talk to people, I go to villages, I talk to the consumer.
Fine was a very, fine was a very kind word he used. Right. You know, normally he uses.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I remember what he said, but he kind of trashed it and said that's for people who don't know what's happening in the market. But today you have data, and data doesn't lie, and trends. There are companies that can predict elections. There are companies that can predict the sales of a company. They can predict almost anything. And second is, Deepak talked about this no brand phenomena. You know, how is it playing on your mind? How do you factor that when you create that painting?
Okay, there are two parts to this. On research, I too have very scant respect for it. Okay. Because I do not know, not just in India, since you used that example, not just in India, world over, you tell me one election prediction which got it absolutely right. Okay.
Arvind Kejriwal won't be the next Prime Minister of India. I promise you, I know that.
So that you're not doing a data research. Your heart tells you what is happening. Okay, if you are sharp enough, I genuinely believe, and they'll beat me up for it. Okay, immediately after this chat, I genuinely believe.
Anurag Kashyap won't.
Most of research is basically stuff, material to cover your backside if you have no gut feel. So you will get promoted in life, you will get promoted any which way, even if your campaign fails, as long as you can say, I researched it and it worked well, okay? So nobody's going to demote you. So you've lost your gut, you know. What is it that you believe in? If you go with gut, and your belief will come if you roam around in the market, if you see what people are doing. Most of the work that we do is observations of life. You know, I know how my mother reacts to what, I know how my sister reacts to what, and I'm watching that. And in fact, what I'm watching is also being depicted in my commercials.
Data.
It'll ensure that you don't lose your job, you know.
But,
so,
but
typically,
you're being cynical, but you talk to lots of people in the private equity business.
You know, the best commercials that we have done, and a lot of my clients ask me, how can we do Fevicol kind of work? Okay. Now, I'll tell you, Fevicol, the way it is done, we are sitting, Piyush and Madhukar Parekh, who owns Fevicol, and I are sitting in Jodhpur on a vacation and having some vodka. In between, Piyush gets an idea. Yaar, ye kaisa lagta hai? I said, that's brilliant. And Madhukar Parikh says...
I've never had vodka in my life. No wonder I'm not a
And Madhukar Parikh says, let's make it. And we make it. Okay, that's how...
Russian vodka.
Between three people, you know what is going to work. Okay, you're not saying, let me research it, 15 आदमी से पूछता हूँ, 10 से पूछूंगा. You know, if you have researched, and that's not a new thing that I'm saying. When I used to be in Lintes, you know, 20 years back, I wrote a script and then they researched it for about a year. A year later, they came to me, they said, now we can release it. And I said, now why do you want to release it? Let's write something new, because in 1 year, you've gone personally and shown it to the entire bloody country. They've already seen it. Abhi kuch naya dikhate hain.
So we'll come back to you on this human versus technology. Rajan, while you went to MIT, you work with technology companies, you work with Dell, you work with Microsoft, you do a fair amount of angel investment across sectors. You see lots of business plans, you see lots of ideas, you see lots of entrepreneurs, apart from seeing the data from what Google throws up. Tell us 3 predictions for the future. Rajan Anandan's 3 predictions for the future.
3 predictions for the future. Well, if I could really get them right, I wouldn't be here.
You got some of them right, that's why you're here.
No, I mean, I don't know, actually. Look, I think, let me maybe focus on technology, because that's sort of what I tend to focus on. I think the first is AI and machine learning will actually impact every industry and everything that we know.
Give us an example.
So, you know, last week, Alphabet, which is Google's holding company, launched the world's first driverless taxi service, right? So, in one city in the US now, you can pretty much order your taxi and it'll show up without a driver, right? So what's really going on there is it's the first true application of artificial intelligence and really, you know, things like sensors and IoT and so on and so forth to an entire industry, right? Where this is a fundamentally different kind of car because this car pretty much drives itself. You don't need a human. And it actually goes back to what can machines do better than humans? See, so far, machines actually, as of today, right, December 7, 2018, machines now can actually do a lot of things better than humans.
Sure.
One thing we're still quite a ways away from is what he does really well, which is creativity. And if you think about the act of driving, you don't need to be a creative genius to drive. Right? So what the machine has done over a period of years, millions of miles of driving, is machine has learned how to drive. Machine can recognize, computer vision can recognize a cat from a dog. Computer vision can actually recognize that's a child that's about to cross the street, right? So that's just in the auto industry, right? And you can go through industry after industry. So we do think that AI and machine learning will dramatically impact industries. And eventually, you know, we don't know whether it's 5 or 10 years from now. Today, by the way, you know, you can listen to music. It's not mainstream yet, but the music may actually have been composed by a machine. That's done. Right now, the best composers are still composing music that's much better than machines can, because in many ways it's still a creative field. So I think that's the first thing. I think the second one really is genomics and gene therapy. I think you opened by saying you'd like to be like him. I think we're a few years away. Actually, that's a solvable problem.
Maybe like Anurag Kashyap now.
No, but you can certainly,
my mind.
you know, like, I don't know whether you all read, but the first gene-edited baby was born in China.
Sure.
Right? So maybe Anurag, maybe the two of you won't look alike, but theoretically in a few years, if you really wanted to, you could make a baby that kind of looked like him and acted like him with his voice. And actually, maybe you could get his voice. I don't know about the rest of the, you know, because it's real.
That's very disappointing, Rajan.
No, I know, but, you know, but maybe you like the self, you just want his voice, right? And we could gene edit your voice. So, I think that's another big thing, right? So I think life sciences will go a long way. And by the way, just coming back to machines, today, computers can actually, so you know, there's technologies that have been built where just by looking at your retina, you can predict, the machine can predict whether you're going to get diabetes or not. Today, the machine can do that better than any ophthalmologist in the world, right? Because of millions of pattern recognition, you see all the little changes, and boom, you're going to actually get diabetes. So that's just an example. So
For example, there are companies using AI to predict there's no natural disaster, to predict the age of a person, because they look at the, you know, body composition, they look at body markers, they look at past data, so they can, with a lot of accuracy, and that is being used to calculate insurance premiums. So AI is getting used in ways that it wasn't used earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think life sciences I think will be a massive change, right? And I think the third one really is and there's a huge debate going on with this, right? What happens 10 or 15 years from now? As technology is able to produce more food than the world needs, as technology dramatically brings the cost of energy down and so on and so forth, right? What do people do? And with all this free time that they have, will we be able to really free up the world, right? And I think you're going to start seeing new kinds of, what I call social models developing in the world, which none of us can really predict today. I mean, there are different points of view of how this could evolve. But, the way we think about life today, I think, is going to pretty dramatically change. And that third one really is a confluence of everything, right? Sure. So today the reality is there's a Kleiner Perkins funded company that makes burgers out of vegetables that taste better than burgers. Wow, that's cool, right? For those of you that, for whatever set of reasons, don't really
I don't eat burgers, okay? Let me tell you that.
No, I know. I
eat very healthy food.
I think, isn't it banned here anyway? I mean, is it banned in this state? I don't know. Is it banned in this state? I don't know. There's some states that have banned it anyway, so you can't have it. But, hey, guess what? Now you can. Because actually, it's made out of vegetables, right? So like everything is changing, and it's changing at a accelerated pace.
Rajan, we love Google, we love the tech companies because they're really making things happen that weren't possible. And there are lots of positive things they're doing. But let me take a technology insider, a technology leader, a technology entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. He recently said, and he talked about social media. He said, Facebook is the new cigarette. It's killing people. He talked about social media's impact on children, on society, on relationships, on health, on focus. And then there are concerns about technology players using data. What do you have to say? Because you're at a seat where you see what's happening, what's good, what's not good. How do you keep up with these challenges? And I'm not just talking Google, I'm talking of there's this huge push to regulate big technology players in Europe, now in America. Tell us, what do you think about it? I know you work for Google, so...
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think, look, at a very fundamental level, right, it's very important that we make sure that technology is used for good and improving mankind as opposed to not, right? I mean, and I think this is a very, very important discussion and debate. And I kind of break it down to a couple of different things, right? One, you mentioned privacy. How do you make sure that all your data is held private, right? So, and I think there's a huge responsibility on platforms like Google and others to make sure that we are keeping your data private, right? And if you just look at Google, our principle is you should control your data. I don't know how many of you know this because I'm surprised how few people know. You can actually go to my account at Google, you can go to, and pretty much you know exactly what data Google has on you. You can go to, and actually you can figure out all the data that Google has on you. And then if you decide, look, I don't want Google to have any of this data, you can just wipe it out. Or you can say, I want to take this data from Google to some other platform. You can port it instantly, right? You can say, Google, I don't want you to collect these kinds of data. So being able to give users the ability to control their data is very, very important, right? Secondly, it's very important that platforms, right, take even more care not to actually use data in ways that they shouldn't be used, right? We've seen a whole set of examples over the last year or so. So that's one. I think second is tech, there's a big movement now called tech for good, right? So if you look at the reality is there are segments of society, so take the highly connected young, who are probably spending more time online, right? So for instance, there are a bunch of companies, including Google, where we are now actually really developing technology. So you should be able to say, look, after 8 o'clock, I don't want notifications, right? Or if you should have settings for your kids that says after 8 o'clock, the network just shuts down or your connectivity shuts down, right? So, but again, it's up to you, but how do we make it super simple for parents to be able to moderate the online behavior of their children, right? So you'll see a lot more happening there. So for instance, you might say, look, I'm most creative, actually you're probably creative all day, but you might say, look, I'm most creative between 6 p.m. and 3 a.m.
Or whenever I'm having vodka.
Yeah, whenever you're having vodka, right?
2 p.m.
How do I tell the machine that I don't want these sets of things? I don't want any phone calls. I don't want any notifications. I don't want, et cetera, right? So I think that's sort of the second big thing. And the third is, there's a whole set of things around fake news and so on that we need to really focus on.
Social media is you know, Google is not social media in a sense, but it's big, it's bigger than anything else. What about people today? Media like yours, platforms, whatever, are being used to slander people, anonymous content being put. What are you doing to deal with that? You know, because today, if something shows up in Google search, it can impact somebody's job, it can impact somebody, and the source may be entirely malicious. And how do you make sure once it's gone, but it wasn't true, how do you update that?
Yeah, no, so I think, look, you know, high quality content and not having content that's illegal, content that, you know, fake content and so on and so forth. I think that's very, very important. Look, so we're doing a whole set of things, right? So about, I think in 2017, we had a whole set of issues on YouTube, for instance. Advertisers were worried that their content was showing up against content that shouldn't be shown, you know, whether it's extremism and so on and so forth. So we've actually gone now, you know, massively. What we're trying to do is use technology, process, and people, right, to flag content that is not desirable. And we've got, you know, 20 classifications of type of content that is not desirable. We then let the machine sort of flag that content. Then we have human reviewers. We actually have 10,000 people around the world that actually all they do is just review content, right? And they review content to just understand whether this is content that's not desirable, does it violate local laws, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the third thing, right? And the third one really is process. We're trying to make it much easier. Like, let's say you see some content, you see some, you know, content on YouTube, or you see a search result that you think is not accurate. We want to make it easier for you to flag it and then build the infrastructure and capability within Google to be able to review it and so on and so forth. So those are the sets of things we're doing ourselves. But then we're also actually doing a lot of work to train journalists. So in India, actually, we're training 8,000 journalists on exactly this topic, right? How do you actually make sure that when you know, how do you write content that's good, and then how do you actually use technology to, you know, we have an initiative called Google News Initiative. We've committed to invest $300 million in independent quality journalism, in training journalists, and a whole bunch of other things. So it is a very, very important point. You know, you started with something that I want to clarify. We are a technology company, not a media company.
Right.
Because you do realize we don't actually
that's why Murdoch is
media.
selling. That's
we don't make
Indian media owners are selling, right? Technology gets you higher valuation.
Advertising is a revenue model, but it's actually a very important difference, right? We're a platform for content creators to reach the world, to give creators a voice. We have a revenue model called advertising. We also have a revenue model called cloud. Eventually, we'll have revenue models around consumers paying for subscriptions. We'll have, you know, so those are all revenue models. But at the core of it, we are a tech company, and I want to clarify that.
Sure, tech company has valuations, and tech company has a certain halo. I just want to end this because we really want to announce the impact person of the year. But two questions, and I want short answers. One, what would Rajan Anandan be doing 3-5 years from now? Would he still be at Google, or would he would have turned in an entrepreneur? You made so much investment. I know you said it is your 8th year, and every day you look forward to going to.
Look, I love what I do, right? I think in life it's very important to do what you really love, and I love technology, and I love the idea of getting people online. And so one thing you can guarantee, not 3 or 5 years from now, 40 years from now, because I'm hoping, you know, gene therapy and all of that kind of helps and works in our favor. I mean, 40 years from now, every single person is going to be connected to the internet, and every single thing is going to be connected to the internet, and I want to be there.
Fantastic. And if you had to choose the impact person of the year from the other 8 nominees, who would that be?
I would choose all of them, actually. I don't even know why you pick one. No, why do you pick
all
one?
Of them
it's such an old idea. You know, just pick one of them.
If you had to choose one, I know. I mean, I really want one. If exclude yourself, and out of the other 8, who would you choose?
Look, I don't think it's fair because I'm not. I don't know. I don't know all the cases.
You're standing for election.
I pick Deepak.
Okay. Deepak, what would Deepak Iyer be doing 3 to 5 years from now?
I wish I would be in a beach with nothing to do, but then unfortunately we still have to work for our bread and butter. So, as we call it, chocolate is my bread and butter right now. 17 years I sold Pepsi. 2.5 years I sold Wrigley chewing gum and some good candies. 2.5 years I'm selling this amazing chocolate called Cadbury's.
So all the 3 things I like, I'm sure it's going to be a thing that I like.
That's exactly what I do, selling moments of joy, right? So that's what you would like to do, create moments of joy.
Fantastic. And if you had to choose the impact person of the year, who would that be apart from me?
Rajan.
Prasoon, we'll get these 2 questions for you. I don't have to repeat. Yeah, what would you be doing 3 years from now?
I'd be creating.
Babies or work?
No. So So I'd be, if I'm not doing films, I'd be creating something, you know, because that's what we do.
Sure. And who would be your choice for the Impact Person of the Year?
Deepak and I struck a deal, so Deepak.
Okay. Clearly, it's the client always at the last laugh. Out of 3, 2 votes for Deepak, 1 vote for Rajan, and no vote for Prasoon Joshi. So on this note, I want to end this and really, maybe Mr. Ghai, I want to be like you when I grow up. We'll figure this out in a while. But please give our Impact Person of the Year nominees a big round of applause. Thank you so much. That's a good one.
I'd like for all of you to please stay on stage. Anurag, I'd like to request you to present a token of our appreciation. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Deepak Iyer, Rajan Anandan and Prasoon Pandey. I'm tempted to say Anurag Kashyap as well, but I won't. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay, a really absorbing session. Say what? I mean, some really wonderful insights, stuff that put a smile on our hearts as well, smiles on our faces. Let's give the 3 of them another round of applause, please. And as you can see, we're getting the stage ready for the actual announcement. We might buy a little time and in the process also do something really important, acknowledge brands and people that have supported us. We've got another slew of AVs to play, and rightfully so. Can we roll the film, please?
रुपए का जो दाम है, जो कमजोरी है, 70 साल में इतना कमजोर नहीं रहा है रुपया।
सबसे तेज गति से विकसित होने वाली अर्थव्यवस्था भारत 6ठे नंबर की अर्थव्यवस्था है।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
तुम नहीं जानते तुम जिस रास्ते पे चल रहे हो उसका अंजाम क्या हो सकता है। जिस रास्ते पर मैं चल रहा हूँ उसका अंजाम शायद बुरा भी हो सकता है, लेकिन जिस रास्ते पर तुम चल रहे हो उसका अंजाम सिर्फ बुरा ही होता है भाई।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
ये मेरा देश है, ये मेरे लोग हैं, ये हमारी लड़ाई है, ये हमारी जिम्मेदारी है। इसे ऐसे कैसे छोड़ दूं? अन्याय के इस बोझ को और कौन उठाएगा? क्योंकि जब आप मुस्कुराते हैं तो मैं मुस्कुराता हूं। जब आपका दिन अच्छा गुजरता है तो मैं भी सुकून से सोता हूं। ये मेरा देश है, ये मेरे लोग हैं।
पिछले महीने 19 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों ने देखा। आज आपने जी न्यूज देखा क्या?
चलो चलो तुम रंग अपने चलो 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 तुम रंग अपने चलो चलो। तुझसा ना कोई और है, दुनिया को देखा दे अपना ढंग, पहचान तुझे मिल जाएगी, जीत ले तू अपनी जंग। चुनो अपने रंग, 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 चुनो अपने अपने रंग.
BW Business World presents a rich legacy of curated events that enable conversations on policy issues in India.
Because of the state of our cities, we have no option but to build smart and resilient cities.
Digital India is more for the poor, underprivileged and the deprived.
Covering a range of topics, BW Business World events look to create a strong narrative around smart cities, digital India, healthcare, Swachh Bharat, human resource issues, education, banking and finance, among others.
The world is fast changing. Best practices are available now on the net.
विकास, डेवलपमेंट पूरी राजनीति में ये फोकस बन गया है.
BW Business World events provide a speaking platform to the voices that matter.
स्मार्ट से ताल्लुक यह है कि हम जो बेसिक एमिनिटीज हैं उसको हम चुस्त दुरुस्त करें.
किस राज्य का कितना या किस देश में कितना शहरीकरण हुआ है, ये भी एक विकास का पैमाना है.
We believe that e-governance and IoT will play a very, very important role.
BW Business World is an excellent exhibition platform that helps you showcase your services to the right audience. To be a part of our legacy, write into us at partner@businessworld.in.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are inching closer to that moment. And to do the honors, I'd like to invite onto stage a really power-packed ensemble of gentlemen to present this award. I'd first like to invite our chief guest, Dr. Deepak Sawant. May we have you on stage, and I'd like to request Mr. Batra to please accompany our chief guest. We'd like to invite our guest of honor, Mr. Subhash Ghai. And let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as they make their way up onto stage. Mr. Naval Ahuja, co-founder of the Exchange for Media Group. May we have you on stage, please, Naval. Ms. Lahiri, editor of Impact. May we have you on stage. We have with us, as you are aware, Mr. Raj Naik, COO Viacom 18. May we have you on stage, Raj. Thank you very much. And of course, we have with us the chairman of Madison World, Mr. Sam Balsara. Can you join us on stage, please? Let's give Mr. Balsara a round of applause. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, a power-packed ensemble on stage to do the honors.
I'm always like this, okay? I want to invite two of my friends, Mr. Markand Adhikari, who is a close friend and he's a industry pioneer, and my friend Amit Wadhwani, with whom I do a show on real estate on Republic. Markand Bhai and Amit, we'd request you to come on stage. We won't take your fees away, okay?
What fees? What fees? Okay, it's that time. It's that time of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. The moment we've been waiting for. I'd like to request Dr. Sawant to announce the Impact Person of the Year 2018. May we have the envelope handed over to our chief guest to enable him to do the honors. May we have the microphone on, please? Yes, it is.
Hello. Can you guess something? Who is inside? That's it. The Impact Person of the Year 2018, Rajan Anandan, Vice President, Southeast Asia and India, Google. Congratulations.
Okay. We have, give him a round of applause, a well-deserved winner this evening. Before we actually hand over the award, we have a short film on our winner this evening. Can we air the film, please? I'm going to have to request our dignitaries to...
Rajan Anandan is a man on a mission to get every Indian online in the shortest possible time. As the leader of tech giant Google in India and Southeast Asia, he has directed all his efforts towards this noble initiative and has already achieved great success. Anandan's immediate focus for Google is to cater to the various vernacular language or non-English speaking users of internet in the country, allowing them to access the internet in their own language.
Internet users who are coming to the internet for the very first time, many of them are now accessing the internet primarily through voice first and voice only. Voice is anyway, much easier. Most people would much rather speak than type. User consumption of video has gone from being very expensive to being quite affordable, and that's driven this explosive growth in video. And lastly, local languages is really the way that these new internet users are accessing the internet, consuming content, both in video as well as in text. So 100% of new users that are coming onto the internet today are only proficient in their local Indian languages, right? Be it Hindi, Tamil, Kannada, Bangla, and all the other Indian languages that we have.
Also to Anandan's credit are several initiatives such as Google's Internet Sathi, which aims to bring more rural women online to empower them, and a project to provide free high-speed internet to hundreds of railway stations around the country. Anandan has identified voice, video and vernacular as the three driving forces of the Indian internet ecosystem and is focused on expanding them in the region, while increasing adoption of the internet among consumers and businesses. Not surprising then that Southeast Asia and India today have the fastest growing internet user base in the world.
Our mission for the last several years has been internet for every Indian, right? So we said this when India only had about 100 million users. Today we are at 400 million internet users in India. We have over almost 1 billion Indians to go, right? There are 900 million Indians who are not connected to the internet. So everything that we're doing in India is focused on how do we get internet for every Indian, right? So what we've done is, over the last several years, we've developed a very deep understanding of all the different challenges and the barriers there are to getting Indians online.
Anandan is also an angel investor in his personal capacity, with a track record of investing in many sectors across technology, including startups, and leading and growing several large technology businesses in the US and India. The Impact Person of the Year 2018 award is for this dynamic business leader, an inspiration to all techpreneurs, a change maker in India's digital ecosystem, known for accelerating innovation, growing internet adoption, and the industry-wide influence of these efforts, especially the vernacular route to digital India.
Right. A well-deserved applause at that. May I request our chief guest, Dr. Sawant, to please present Rajan Anandan with the Impact Person of the Year 2018 award presented by Colors. I'm going to request all of you to please stay with us on stage. I'm going to invite Mr. Raj Naik to please read out a citation before presenting it himself to Mr. Anandan.
This looks like a duty I do for most Exchange for Media events. The Impact Person of the Year 2018 title is awarded to Rajan Anandan of Google for being a change maker in India's digital ecosystem, accelerating innovation, growing internet adoption in the country by enabling vernacular language access of the internet and making internet for every Indian his mission. Anandan's promotion of voice, video, and vernacular as the three driving forces of the internet ecosystem has increased adoption of the internet among consumers and business alike, making Southeast Asia and India the fastest growing internet users base in the world today. To him goes the credit for identifying extraordinary opportunities for brands to acquire users, drive engagement with consumers, and make the most out of their online spends. His sharp business acumen has resulted in Google India more than doubling its business over the last 3 years, even as it delivers robust profits. Rajan Anandan is a dynamic business leader a pioneer of the order that the digital domain has not witnessed in a while, and the Impact Person of the Year 2018 award is in recognition of the industry-wide influence of his work. Signed, Dr. Anurag Batra, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief, Exchange for Media, December 7, 2018, Mumbai. Congratulations, Anand.
Okay, I think the moment is opportune. We'd like to have, should I say, the release of the magazine, the issue. Maybe have them on stage, please. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. The most recent and most relevant issue. I want to thank all of you for helping do the honors, and I'm going to request tonight's winner to address us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rajan Anandan to address us.
Thank you. I must say that's the longest time I've actually had pictures of myself shown up on a screen and been on some magazines. So it's very, very humbling. So I want to start by thanking Campaign, Exchange for Media, Colors, and all the other companies that have made today possible. I also want to congratulate Deepak, Prashun, and all the other nominees. I do think that each of them is much more deserving than I am, but I'm honored to have been given this recognition. But this recognition really isn't about me. It's not about Rajan Anandan, but I think it's a recognition for the incredible internet users in India, and I'll talk more about that. I think it's a recognition of the amazing products that Google has that range from search to YouTube to Android. And I think most importantly, it's a recognition of the amazing team that we have at Google India, who I've been fortunate to work with, as well as all the amazing ecosystem partners we've been fortunate to work with, many of whom are in this room. So this is really for all of them and not really for me. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm truly appreciative of, I think, the opportunity that I've had over the last many years to be at Google, but also really be in the tech industry for now a very, very long time. As all of you know, India's at a very, very interesting time, really across the board, but especially when it comes to technology. I think what we're seeing in India when it comes to the consumer internet is unparalleled. What Google is actually now, what we're seeing in India when it comes to the internet, we have not seen in the history of the internet. The commercial internet, as we know, is about 22, 23 years old, depending on when you think the start of the commercial internet is. The growth that we're seeing in terms of users, the consumption of data, the types of things these users are doing, and most importantly, actually the new kinds of consumer behavior that we're seeing, we've just not seen before, right? And I think that's what really makes the internet in India extremely exciting. There are about 400 million internet users in India, and we are adding between 8 to 10 million new internet users every single month. So just to give you a sense of what that means, you basically add all of France in about 6 months. You add a Singapore every 2 weeks. That's sort of the scale at which the Indian internet is operating, right? And not only are these large number of users online, as all of you know, as data has become a lot more affordable, every single one of these users is spending an enormous amounts of time on the internet. In fact, the latest data we have from last month is that the average consumption per user per month has now crossed 10 gigabytes per user per month. And just to give you a sense, 2.5 years ago, that number was less than 1 gigabyte, about half a gigabyte. So we've seen a 20x growth in consumption, right? But that's really not what the story of the internet is in India, right? The story of the internet in India is about all these new user behaviors. You saw some of that on the video. Voice. The new internet user basically wants to speak to the internet, does not want to tap or type. We've not seen that before. We just haven't seen this kind of user behavior where all the access now with the new internet users that are coming online is really driven by voice. It's video. I mean, India today has, I would argue, the most vibrant online video market in the world. We're at north of 300 million online video users. Just YouTube as a platform has over 250 million users on it. And even today at this scale, watch time is growing at over 100% year on year, right? So video. And then the last one is local languages. Every single one of these new internet users is accessing the internet only in their local language, Hindi, Tamil, Kannada, and you can keep going with every single Indian language. And what's most important though is what the internet is really doing for Indians that are coming online, right? India is a country that, we don't have the basic infrastructure that we need, right? If you think about the 900 million Indians live in rural India, most of them don't have access to good healthcare, to good education. Most of them would like to make a better living. Most of them struggle with things like transport and so on and so forth. And what we are seeing now, what excites me the most is what the internet is enabling for what I'm calling as the real India, the 900 million Indians that are not connected to the internet. As they come online, they're able to begin to access the kinds of services that, let's say, all of us have, right? And I'll give you just one example. There's a startup in Bangalore, it's called Sigtuple. I don't know how many of you have heard of Sigtuple. Sigtuple basically uses AI and machine learning to essentially deliver world-class medical diagnostics as about 100 of the cost that regular medical device companies globally produce. And because of connectivity now, they're able to deploy these devices that, they're able to deploy them anywhere in the world, but they're able to actually deploy these devices in very small Indian villages. And as a result, let's say somebody living in rural Bihar in a very, very small village or rural Maharashtra is able to get access to world-class diagnostics that quite frankly, in fact, many of us in this room may also struggle with. And it goes back to AI, right? What AI can do in terms of medical diagnostics and the quality of medical diagnostics. Education's been a huge problem, but the reality today is online you can actually deliver education. I don't know how many of you know this, but Stanford's almost entire curriculum now is available online. So you could theoretically go to Stanford, you could take all of Stanford's classes by just being connected. So as these children in rural India get connected, they get access to world-class education, they can get access to healthcare, they can access to new incomes, etc. And the last story I'll leave you with is, we have an initiative called Internet Saathi. It's a partnership that we have with Tata Trust as Google in India, where about 3 years ago we launched this initiative to help women in rural India get connected to the internet. So 3 years when we launched this, only 10% of internet users in rural India were women, and the digital gender divide in India was worse than what we had seen anywhere in the world, the Middle East, all parts of Africa. Pretty much we had never seen that kind of digital gender divide. And as we try to understand it, what became very clear is women in rural India really have 3 constraints, right? They don't have smartphones. They don't have access to smartphones because either they can't afford them or their families don't want them. Second, they actually didn't understand what the internet could do for them. And third, there were societal pressures where, the husband may have a smartphone, maybe the son would have a smartphone, but the woman did not. So we said, look, the only way we can really change this is by really going village to village. So we partnered with Tata Trust, And we launched this initiative essentially, and what we've done is we hire women in rural villages, we give them smartphones, we train them on the internet, and then we give them a stipend so that they can spend 5 or 6 days a week helping women in their village and one more village get online. So over the last 3 years, this is really scaled now. We are in over 220,000 villages. We've got 50,000 full-time women as internet sathis, and we've trained over 20 million women. But what's very, very interesting about what we've learned is what these women really want from the internet is to make their lives better. They want to find ways in which they can make another 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees. They want to get access to education for their children because they know that the education that they have is not world class. They want to understand more about healthcare, their own healthcare, the healthcare of their families, and so on and so forth. So for the first time, I think the internet now is beginning to bring the best of the world to all of India. And I think that makes the internet extremely interesting and extraordinarily relevant for India as we look at the next 5 or 10 years. And I'll end with one last story. So now we've actually taken our Internet Sathi initiative to the next phase where we're actually trying to make these women who are Sathis into rural entrepreneurs. Mohini is actually in rural Maharashtra. We should have you go and visit or have her come and visit you, Minister, at some point. Until 2 years ago, she had never been on the internet. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know how to get on it. She was primarily in a farming household, much like most of rural India, and she had started a very small beekeeping unit. But once through the Internet Sathi initiative, she signed up as an Internet Sathi, she started learning about the internet. She actually wanted to learn how she can start a business. And she very quickly learned that honey is actually a pretty large industry, and she learned how to scale up her beekeeping unit. So she actually increased her beekeeping unit by 100 times. She started finding out from the internet how to sell to other villagers around her, and so on and so forth. And currently, and actually when we met her a couple of weeks ago, she was now trying to figure out how she can sell online. Because here's somebody who was barely making a living. Now she actually makes 10 times more than what the family used to make. This year, she'll ship about 700 kilograms of world-class honey. Those of you who like honey, you should actually try it. And this family, just in 2 years, is in such an incredibly different place. And it's because of what the internet was able to do for her and for her family, right? And what I'd like all of you to think about is where India would be when every single Indian is online. Thank you.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Anandan, besides all the wonderful work he does, so absolutely eloquent. Right, I want to once again very quickly and importantly acknowledge all of the brands and people that have helped us get this show on the road. Our presenting partner, Colors, powered by partner Z News, co-gold partner, Republic. You are Republic, we are your voice. Empowered by partner Colors Infinity, co-partner BTVI, and our live webcast partner 24 Frames Digital. I did mention at the top of the evening that that you all needed to tweet, and the most innovative tweet would, or tweeter would earn himself or herself a prize. I do not have access to what the tweet said, but I have been given the name of the winner, Anuradha. I'm going to give away a number. I hope I'm not giving away too much of secured or supposedly secured information. 57475746, if that makes sense to you, Anuradha. And if you are in the room, you want to step up. I'm going to take the liberty of giving you this prize myself. I think I've seen you somewhere. This is incredibly coincidental. We worked together for a few years. Congratulations, Anuradha. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful evening, to say the very least. Informative, engaging, and of course celebratory for obvious reasons. It's now my privilege and pleasure to invite the co-founder and director of the Exchange for Media Group, to conclude the evening's proceedings and deliver the vote of thanks. You do know whom I'm going to invite on stage. Please join me in welcoming him, Naval Ahuja.
Thank you, Brian, and a very big round of applause for Brian. He does, set the show on fire. I'm doing the last piece of the evening, and I'm standing between you and the drinks, so I'll be quick. Thank you all for being here. Congratulations again, Rajan, for this well-deserved award. Congratulations to all the nominees, especially Prasoon, Deepak, who've taken time out to be here today. It's been a very interesting list of nominees this year. As you can see, people from the technology, startup ecosystem, hardcore, old-style FMCG businesses, upcoming media businesses like Star, young entrepreneurs like Naveen Timari of InMobi, who are creating, large businesses, global businesses based out of India. I remember before coming up on stage, I remember reading something today, and that takes me back to what Google Rajan said on stage about genome therapy and self-driven cars. There's a piece in one of the international publications today about a scientist talking about how, in his assessment, aliens have already visited us, and our current technologies and science is not capable enough to be able to detect what the fact that they've been on Earth, and we are already part of a larger ecosystem. And I am also so looking forward to 40 years later, where gene therapy, self-driven cars, and technology across all the ecosystems changes life as we know it. One of my friends was praising my display picture on WhatsApp, and I ended up telling him that's a 25-year-old picture with my mother, when I remember there were hardly any. There was very basic television. There was no satellite television then, and look where we've come in just 25 years. And if we were to look at or trace the pace of change that is going to happen over the next 25, who knows? Maybe we would certainly be living on Mars. Thank you, everyone. Last piece. The evening won't be possible without our well-wishers, supporters, companies, people who made it possible. So thank you, Raj and your team, Sapan, wherever you guys are sitting. Thank you, Z News, Mehraj, Ashok. Thank you for making it happen. Shimaru, 9X Jalwa, Nickelodeon. Nina, you're not here. I saw Sonali somewhere in the crowd. Republic, Arnab is on air. He was supposed to be here today. Vikas, I don't know whether you're here. I can't see you. Thank you, Colors Infinity, BTVI, Mega. Thank you so much for being part of this. Radio City, Discovery, and Sakal. The bar is open, dinner is being served, so enjoy the evening. Drive safe. And before I get off stage, just one quick look at our partner IAAAV, who are organizing an event in February. As you know, Cochin is the venue for the mega event IAA is organizing in February. So do have a look at that and be supportive of the event. Thank you so much. Good night.
Digital technology started maturing to the point where consumers were constantly connected, whether it be first by desktop, now of course by mobile. Then that changed the way they communicate with each other and the way they communicate with brands. And so that's changed our advertising model completely.
And if you don't have a globally competitive digital tools and skills, you simply will not survive. You will get disrupted. You will be outcompeted. You will be left behind.
A lot of retail brands today are struggling in a brick and mortar world, and we really want to benchmark our experience in the online world for our expertise in the digital space to support the growth in the brick and mortar world.
If you want to grow, you need to innovate around that. How do you attract new customers in a new and better way? Where the costs today are often Facebook or Google, you need to rethink the whole model you're doing. You need to use technology to actually enable that.
Entire industries will change and emerge as data speeds go up and data costs come down. We're used to getting cloud-based data and applications from anywhere, but get ready, because that experience is going to get a whole lot better.
Every 15 years, there's something incredibly transformative, right? It was PCs, then it was internet, and now it's mobile. We think actually the next one will likely be virtual reality.
I'm very excited about technological advancements that will more closely couple humans and machines. Who knows, maybe the research that goes into creating my body will be useful for similar applications.
More than ever, showing your leadership in the area of sustainability will place you very well. Because the future issues that we need to solve are obviously the challenges of climate and energy, or water, or biodiversity, or natural capital, and many of the other things.
I don't care how big the mountain is. We can take one step at a time and be proud of whatever it is we're setting about doing and have purpose in that. I need to know where the starting point is. What's the starting point?
Today, through technology, in 1 second, we communicate with the whole world. In the same way, if we can tune our minds to that simplicity, to the innocence, to caring and sharing, we will find the whole world as one family.
तुझसा ना कोई यार है दुनिया को देखा दे अपना ढंग पहचान तुझे मिल जाएगी जीत ले तू अपनी जंग